Nonviolent communication is an amazing technology, founded, invented, discovered perhaps by a man named Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, who passed away just a few years ago, an amazing guy. Rosenberg realized that the way we communicate with each other is frequently violent. And it's not because we curse at each other, yell at each other, or say things that are mean. There are times that those things might all be appropriate, believe it or not. What he meant by nonviolent was, what he was suggesting was violent in our typical communication, was making each other responsible for how we feel. So when we typically say, yesterday when you didn't clean up after you had dinner, you made me angry. Okay? I'm pretending, because I actually know deep down it's not true, that you made me angry. When the truth is that I have a need for cleanliness and order. I have a need for fairness, which says everyone cleans up after themselves. You know, whatever it might be. That I have a need that's not being met. That my anger always arises as a result of my unmet need or something that I'm believing that's not true. That's where my anger, that's where all my negative emotions come from. And that you can never make me angry. You can trigger my anger by your words or actions. But what they're triggering is the realization that I have this unmet need. Okay? So nonviolent communication is a technology which helps us to communicate with each other in ways that are more supportive of life and love by taking responsibility where responsibility is necessary. So instead of saying, you make me angry, I would say, Rainey, when you left your dishes on the counter last night, I felt angry because I have a need for cleanliness and fairness. You know, I think it seems fair to me that everyone cleans up after themselves, and I'd like the place to be clean. Would you be willing to do this? And that's kind of the formula demonstrated for you. But rather than saying, you make me angry, I say, I felt angry because not because you did something. And so I don't know about you, I have always found languages somewhat difficult. People here, the locals often compliment me on my Spanish, but I think that's only because most of the gringos here don't even try to learn. And so they don't speak much. And, you know, my Spanish, my ongoing joke is, you know, in another 50 years I might actually have mastered the language. I find that language is somewhat difficult. NVC is a language. We're using our own language, whether it's English or Spanish or Portuguese or whatever it might be, but we're using it in a way that we're not familiar with using it. And we have to relearn that. For me, intellectually, it's easy. Even Rosenberg, the founder, found that when his buttons were really pushed, when he most needed his technology, he couldn't access it because he was running on autopilot. And I know there are people who have commented about me when they've seen me get angry. Well, he teaches nonviolent communication, but he can't use it. Well, the truth is, yeah, it can be very difficult sometimes when our buttons are really pushed to be able to access this. The good news is that even if in the moment when we most need it, we don't have it, we might have it a minute later. And that's not bad. That's pretty good if just a moment later we can say, you know what, I apologize. What I really wanted to say was, okay? Again, we can sort of clean it up. We can go back and restate whatever it was we said in a way where we're taking responsibility and making requests rather than making demands on other people. And you saw some of that in action here. You know, it doesn't always create the outcome we desire, but it always creates complete transparency. And rather than blaming somebody else for how we're feeling, we're saying, this is what's going on for me. Would you be willing to do this or say that in this way to help me get my needs met? No is an absolutely valid response. The more frequently we hear no in response to the question, the more we might want to ask ourselves if this is a relationship we really want to stay in. But NVC is an amazing technology. It's been used around the world to resolve serious conflicts, including in Africa. There were 10 chiefs, tribal chiefs, sitting around a table. Every one of them had had children killed by somebody else sitting at the table. And they were able to sit at a table and actually reach a mutual agreement on how to peacefully coexist when that had been impossible for the decades before. And that's an example of how powerful the technology can be. Amazing.